Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of the Four Corners Podcast. My name is John, and I am your host, who definitely eats the most toast. And I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, the one who I just stole that joke from, Damien.
Hey, man. Your voice sounds a little bit different tonight. Why is that?
Yeah, because, we had that awesome basketball game, the college basketball game between the Ball State Cardinals and the Bowling Green
Falcons.
Falcons?
Hey,
Yes.
I didn't get to you guys yet.
We're not here for basketball.
You can't talk, so I didn't get to you guys yet. Ethan?
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing, bub. My throat hurts, so this might be a shorter podcast, but we'll see.
That's okay. That's okay.
We'll see how that goes. Nick?
Falcons.
Falcons. There you go. Thank you for finally answering me.
But we're not here for basketball. We're here for wrestling.
We are here for wrestling. You know who else is here for wrestling?
Who?
Our second special guest
Of season 2.
of this venture we call Four Corners Podcast Season 2. You've heard of her name before. Every time that we mention Alexa Bliss, we go, what do we say, boys?
Hi, Lauren.
Oh, he was the
Hi,
only one.
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Literally, hi, Lauren. How are you?
What's up, John? How you doing?
I am, like I said, my
You
throat
don't look
hurts.
too good.
I have my... Why?
You just don't.
I think you
that
look
was
pretty cute
mean.
tonight,
I
you
think
know?
you look fantastic.
Dude, your hair looks pretty on point.
Thanks, guys. The only thing that hurts is my throat.
You need
I'm
to shave,
the
though,
heel
dog.
of the show.
Oh,
You can't be healed.
I'm the heel.
That's Damien. Oh, that's disgusting.
that is Damien.
That's
So, Lauren,
Yep.
you're familiar with, my boy Goldust. We can't have distractions during the podcast because all we do is sit there and watch it, and then we go, oh no, we're 30 seconds with dead air. So we're not going to do that. I don't care about the Mixed Match Challenge, to be honest with you.
Whoa.
I care.
I
I'm
don't.
watching right
Daniel's
now.
a special guest referee.
His hair looks funny.
We have a special guest. We don't need no special guest referees. Lauren,
What's up?
darling, you are familiar with the format of this podcast.
Yeah.
So that means you are ready for what I'm about to ask you.
I'm ready for what you throw down.
So you have always kind of liked wrestling, am I right?
Grew up on it, yeah.
On TNA though, right?
Yeah.
Wow, so this might play a little bit of a factor into your choices. But go ahead and share some of your insight on who are your top 5 current favorite wrestlers.
Top 5 current: AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Ruby Riott, Shinsuke Nakamura. And
Nick's face is like, ew.
sorry, Nick, can't please everyone.
You're right.
And Rhino.
I know.
That's it.
Interesting
I don't know. I
choice.
wanted to cry when I saw him the first time in person.
He did get that huge ECW chant.
Ryan's awesome.
Yeah, it
It's
was-
Rhino. Who doesn't like the gore?
He's awesome.
The who? The what?
What's a gore?
What's a
What's
gore?
I never heard
Are you
that.
talking about Roman Reigns' spear?
No.
Wow. Interesting set of choices there. The only ones that really compared to ours was AJ Styles, right? Who else did you have? AJ.
AJ,
Finn.
Shinsuke, Finn.
Oh, Finn. We had Finn too. I had Finn.
Ruby.
I think.
Ruby.
Ruby.
She
Yeah,
had
that's
Ruby, yeah.
that's an interesting one.
No, I just really like her character.
She's not. I honestly don't think she's even in my top 5 favorite women on the roster.
That hurts.
I'm
That
sorry,
hurts.
I like her. I don't think she's in my top 5
No, not
either,
top
honestly,
5.
but I like her.
She's the 6th woman.
but it's not about our opinions right now.
No.
Because Lauren has also prepared us her top 5 favorite of all time.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up on TNA, so most of my picks are TNA, and some of them overlap with my current favorites. But AJ Styles,
Fair.
Kazarian, Christian. He was Christian
Christian
Cage
Cage.
on TNA,
Christian
but
Cage.
y'all gonna murder me if I call him that.
Yeah.
I really liked Joker Sting.
Joker Sting.
Joker.
I was on TNA back then. Jeez.
Yeah,
Joker
Joker
Sting was
Joker
something.
Sting was great. And it's 2 people, but I really like the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes.
The guns were great.
That's fair. I mean, I had the Usos as one of my favorite currents. So
I had 2 tag teams in mine. So.
did you?
So
Kevin and
I had Kevin and
Sammy,
Sammy, and I had Jason and Seth.
Interesting. Well, Lauren, I did this on Kelly, and it sounds weird when I say it, but since we're having this women's revolution in WWE, this is kind of just cascading from last week's, and I kept on saying like as a woman, and it felt kind of weird saying that, but like literally as a woman, how did you feel about the Royal Rumble? I just want your thoughts on that.
I really enjoyed it. I thought they definitely brought it up.
Sorry.
I think they definitely like made it as hype as what the men's rumble was. I thought that was really cool. And I think a lot of us were planning on the Asuka winning. Like that really wasn't a shock, but Sasha Banks really surprised me.
Yeah,
I think she did an incredible job.
the Iron Woman, or the
Yeah,
Iron
she's
Man, as they called it. But yeah, it was an interesting Rumble, to say the least. Honestly, I don't think it was as good as the men's. That's my opinion. I just think that, like, I don't know. I just thought the men's was better, but I think they did a good job, and at least they didn't have James Ellsworth win it. But
He wasn't even in it, so that's a plus.
I know.
Yeah.
Right? Well, he wasn't in the Money in the Bank ladder match either, and he still won that.
Yeah, well, he's gone.
I know. Hey, you never know.
gone.
You never know with WWE. But as we did talk about last week, we do have the first ever women's Elimination Chamber coming up. What are your thoughts on that?
It's about time.
It's about time.
It's about time. Like, I think you definitely have the caliber of women to be able to do that. You know, they're all super athletic, and a lot of them are more on their abilities than what their looks are. So I think when you have that, you need to up it to having Elimination Chamber, the Royal Rumble, like all of that. I mean, the stage is there.
So we did get a couple nights ago on Raw the reveal of the women's Elimination Chamber match. Of course, we knew Alexa Bliss was going to be in it because it's for the title in the actual Elimination Chamber. And we got the 5 other reveals, which were Bayley, Sasha, Sonya Deville,
Sonya
or
Deville. Yeah.
Liv
Mickey.
Morgan.
No,
that's
Liv is
just
on
on
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Oh, same
Mandy
Mandy Rose. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mickey James.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because as we see, as we'll get into later, we had the men's Elimination Chamber where it is you fight to get in. You fight to get into this sadistic, the most heinous thing that WWE has ever created, the most heinous thing in all of professional wrestling. They fight to get in there, but now we see them just picking them. Do you guys have any thoughts on like
See,
them?
I'm going to drop this down. If they didn't just pick them, Mandy Rose wouldn't be in there.
Wow.
Oh,
Mandy's good though.
that's bold.
I like Mandy.
Yeah, I like
I
Mandy
don't
too.
like her
But-
at all.
But there's not enough women on Raw to have that.
But
Yeah, there's not.
that's
12
not
women.
that's not a good kayfabe argument for that, because like you don't
I mean,
want to.
you could bring in women, but they're
Yeah,
not
and I'm
gonna
saying
do
you
that.
don't want in kayfabe to say, oh, we don't have enough women to
But
fight
they-
for the Elimination Chamber
but they
when we
don't.
just
Well-
had a Royal Rumble.
well,
I'm
the-
They
saying
there for the Rumble too. They didn't make anyone take their spots. Everybody was just in it because they knew they didn't have enough people to.
Yeah, but that's Royal
people were
Rumble.
still announcing it though. Like it was the same process as the men's. It's just like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It just feels weird that they were just like, oh, we're gonna pick them, and then oh, but we have like 3 matches tonight to decide the men's who's gonna be in there.
But
It
they'll
just
probably have a match to determine who's last, who comes out last in the chamber, like they did with the men's.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I'm just saying if you had like them fight their way in, it would be a
Because you get
different
one
show.
women's match a week. You get one a
Not-
week.
not
No,
anymore.
not
anymore.
Monday.
Not anymore. I know.
They
Not
had like
anymore.
3 a
Yeah.
couple days ago. Yeah.
I just think that when you have wrestlers fight over it, it means more, and like that's just how I feel. To be like, why are you looking at my gluteus maximus? thing?
It's
These-
big.
There's a lot more of a storyline you could use if they have to fight their way in the match.
Yeah, and it feels, you know what I mean? It feels like, oh, they're fighting to get in here. Like this means so much, and then they just handpick them. And like, what? Even then, what is the criteria for picking them to be in there?
But John, who could they fight?
Yeah.
Each other. I don't know.
How will they fight each
I don't
other?
know.
If there's
They
only
can't.
6 spots and
Bring the
Alexa's
SmackDown
on-
women in.
Well, no, then it's a
No.
SmackDown and Raw pay-per-view.
Then why
Tell
did
me-
they just pick the men?
Because there's more than enough men.
Yeah, there's
all
like
fighting.
way more
20
men.
men.
I'm
and
just saying
6
it's the
women.
it's the thought of it. It's the thought of it that the men's Elimination Chamber means more than the women's. It's the thought of it to me.
It's the
personally.
thought that the men have way more people than the women.
I'm just saying.
I'm kind of with John on this one.
Yeah,
What?
but there's
I'm
no
with
one
you
for them
on
to
this one.
fight.
There's not enough.
It
I'm
doesn't
just
make any
saying.
sense.
Then in that case, just pick the men's. You could have just done that,
That's
and we
what-
wouldn't have had Finn
that'd be
Balor.
boring.
We wouldn't have Finn
Yeah,
Balor
we-
lose to John Cena
And
when Elias can pin John Cena.
That's what they did.
I'm
last
still
year,
way
though.
too hype over that basketball game. I'm way too heated right now. I'll fight. We had our basketball team, one of the clutch players, hit his third game-winning three-point of the season and his fifth game-winning or game-tying buzzer-beater three-point. So I'm very hyped for that.
Oh, it was
But
great.
this isn't about basketball, John.
This is a podcast, Lauren, that you were cordially invited to, I guess.
I mean, she kind of like just threw it away.
Kind of just
and was
walked
like,
in
yeah.
here, right? Anyways, noticeably absent from the Elimination Chamber picks for the women's was Nia Jax. And as soon as we said, where's Nia Jax? Kurt Angle was like, and you're probably wondering where Nia Jax is. Nia Jax is in a match at the Elimination Chamber to face Asuka with the stipulation that if Nia Jax wins, she is in the spot for the WrestleMania match that Asuka chooses to be a part of. But they kept on mentioning the Raw. And Nick, you pointed out that like they have made a lot of mention of this being Asuka has already chosen the Raw path.
Every time that she's like had like the platform to decide, they cut her off, and it's like someone comes out like Ronda, or they have some kind of interruption or whatever. So I feel like this is part of the storyline, is that everyone's assuming that Asuka is gonna face Alexa because she's the weaker of the two, obviously, between her and Charlotte, and she's already on Raw anyway, so she might as well. So I think that they're gonna try to swerve us and have all this hype behind this match happening, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Hey guys,
Like,
I never said I was gonna face
I want
Alexa."
more competition.
Right.
The
Yeah.
best in the
Yeah.
women's division besides
At
me.
what point do you think that will happen?
After the chamber.
Well, how close to WrestleMania? Because do
It
you
might
put?
have to be after the Fastlane,
Fastlane.
because if Charlotte has a match there, then she'll have to even wait after.
I was gonna say
I don't know.
at
That's a
that-
long time to wait, though.
Yeah,
From January to March
Yeah.
to not know who you're.
Well, because if she chooses Charlotte, does that mean she's put on SmackDown as soon as she says I want to go after that, or is it just like she's still on Raw until?
No.
Has that happened in
think-
the past?
Batista switched.
But I don't think he went over to SmackDown right away, did he?
I don't
Was that the
remember.
thumbs
was-
down thing?
Yeah, that was in 2005. So honestly, I was 7 years old, so I don't remember that. But
Good math,
I
buddy.
think. Yeah, thank you.
He's been struggling with that.
Incredible.
I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah, because we were talking last night, and one of the worst things about this podcast is that we have a chat, like we have a group chat that we talk about wrestling literally all the time and every day, and then we come and like we watch wrestling together, and so we talk about wrestling, and like we have to save ourselves from saying save it for the podcast, like. But we were talking last night about how it would make sense for Asuka to go over, and I think we all agree that Asuka versus Charlotte is definitely a better match to see than Asuka versus Bliss.
Absolutely.
Ethan, as much as you like Bliss, you have to admit.
Oh, I don't want to see Bliss get destroyed by.
I mean, unless
He
Bliss
doesn't
doesn't win
want
the
Sasha to get
chamber and
destroyed,
Sasha
period.
does.
What?
Unless Sasha wins the chamber. Sasha versus Asuka.
See, I would like to
Part
see.
two.
Oh, that would be.
versus
I didn't even
Asuka.
think about that. I don't know why I didn't think about
Because
that.
their match on Raw was so good,
That and
last week.
I would love to see Sasha and Asuka.
especially
A
if they
heel.
turn it. Especially if they turn it up to 1,000 since it's Mania.
They really could do a heel. You know what they could do? They could do what they did last year for the chamber and have the champion be the first one out,
Oh yeah.
and then you could have Sasha and
I
Bailey.
forgot that.
I forgot about that last year.
Yeah, and you could have
Cena
Sasha
was-
and Bailey be the last two, and then that's when Sasha finally turns heel.
That'd be really cool.
It'd be perfect. Heel Sasha versus whatever Asuka is. Asuka is Asuka. That would be beautiful to see. Asuka versus Charlotte would be good to see. Bliss is the least that I want to see out of any of these.
So you'd rather see Mandy Rose versus
Yeah.
versus Asuka?
That'll be done in 10
Yeah.
seconds.
So, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
Where's your
that's the-
segues at tonight, John?
You know what? I
You're on
actually
point
don't
lately.
even have my. They usually are on point, but I think this would be a good opportunity to turn Sasha heel, just because, like I was saying, it really is supposed to be billed as the most sadistic and brutal, even though they've added all the padding thing in WWE. And as we were talking about earlier, we do know 5 of the 6 men in the men's Elimination Chamber. So for that, we have John Cena, Elias, Braun Strowman, The Miz, right?
Yes.
And
John Cena, Elias,
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
The one
The
that's
winner.
gonna win it.
The winner.
The winner. But next week we will see a fatal 4-way match. Fatal 4-way, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Fatal 4-way match between the losers of those fights that we saw to get into the chamber, which would be, I do remember this, Matt Hardy, Finn Balor, Apollo Crews, and what is the last? I said I remembered it.
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. How could I forget that? So who do you guys think is going to win that match? Who
Finn
is going to
Balor.
be...
Finn Balor.
Really?
We have a
Nick?
process around here, Lauren.
Yeah,
we go
yeah.
around.
Oh, you go around.
You go around.
I know you're new here.
This is a
but-
round table.
Where's Kelly at when we
There's
need
no
her?
table.
I miss Kelly.
It's a couple.
Ouch.
It's okay.
Alright, I'm done.
But yeah, who do you guys think is going to win that fatal 4-way to get into the Elimination Chamber?
Damien.
I think Finn's gonna win. Bray and Matt will do their own thing, and they'll have their feud all the way up till Mania. And Apollo Crews, who cares what he does?
Man, dude.
Man, dude,
Excited for the future.
I am excited for the future.
Lauren, I totally don't know what your answer is, so would you
What could
please
it
tell me
be?
what your answer is?
Finn Balor, because I don't think Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. I mean, Matt Hardy loses a lot, Bray Wyatt loses a lot. I
True
just
that.
don't really see it going far with them. And then, like when Apollo Crews came out, I laughed. So
Everybody does.
you're right. Nobody cares about him. So like the only one that would make sense and is on the caliber of the other men is Finn Balor.
Ethan?
You know, I would like to see Apollo go because I would like to see what he could do in the Elimination Chamber.
He's a spot
and
monkey.
I would like to see. Whoa, spot monkey.
Okay, I did not mean it in the racist term.
Nick! I saw you
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 nodding.
guys
your-
are sleeping on my boy Apollo because
Nick.
I think he has a real shot
I
at
think
being
he
in
does
this
too.
match because he has had a strong, albeit losing efforts, strong booking in the past few weeks.
He
Like
has.
whenever him and Titus versus The Bar were having good matches, he had a good flurry against, was it The Miz this
Yeah.
past week?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might have done something with Seth and Jason, I'm not sure, but just in general, the past 2 weeks he's been booked very well, very strong.
I think he could win it, honestly.
I have never denied his talent. I know he's talented, and it's just a case of WWE wasting their creative juices on someone who could be a top level guy.
Which is why I
Yeah,
want him in this
yeah.
match.
That's why, yeah, he
But
could win.
I
Break
personally,
out.
I think that oh no, this is not the right time for anybody to break out, let alone Apollo
This
Crews.
is going to be the year of Apollo. You remember last year was the year of Mojo? This is the year of Apollo. I
Apollo's
promise.
gonna
So
win
I was
the-
gonna say, is
Bro.
Apollo winning the armbar?
Yes, exactly.
No, I think you have Finn in there just because there's a lot more stories that you can do. There's no stories with Apollo in there at all.
Underdog.
No.
Yes.
No.
He's the underdog trying to break out, trying to make a name for
If
himself
you-
going into the biggest show of the year. What else
Then
would you want?
have Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt do their thing on the side, like they're out of the ring and they're so mad at each other for whatever reason because they laugh at each other. That's why they're mad.
Yeah.
They are beating up each other, and then have Finn Balor and Apollo Crews put on this awesome match, and then have Apollo just lose by a hair.
No.
You can no. I'm
I
saying
want-
with Finn because I think they're doing Finn and Miz at Mania for the IC title, or at least I hope so. And there's a lot more stories that you can do in there just because Finn Balor lost to John Cena, like a distracted John Cena.
Yes.
There's a lot more stories that you can do in there than Apollo.
That's why I say you have Finn lose and have him go on this, like, not losing streak, but just like he's down on himself because he doesn't have what it takes to really to win a big match, and then that can lead to the heel turn, to needing help from his buddies in the club, and then he has the whole Balor Club thing as a heel going into Mania against Cena. That would be cool.
I agree.
Going off of that,
All right.
because Finn could turn heel in the chamber too.
I'd rather see
Do
it.
you think
It
that
wouldn't
I'd
be
rather
as-
see it gradual than just all of a
Mhm.
sudden he snaps inside the cage because he's a monster. And, I
it
don't want
has
that.
been low key gradual ever since he joined?
That's why you should lose. Thank you. It's gradual.
It could be gradual and he could still win. I'm personally saying I just would rather not see Apollo Crews in there. For story's
I think he
sake.
could shine. Yeah, I agree.
For story's sake. Nobody ever agrees with me.
I agree with you.
I've agreed with you once.
Right.
I don't remember what that was about.
Roman's
neither
winning
do I.
the chamber anyway, so
Yeah,
I don't
it
even
doesn't
know.
matter.
I don't even know why we're arguing
We're just
so.
talking about
One person
story.
match.
I don't even know. Well, one person who definitely will not be in the chamber, and one person who definitely is in some trouble, I guess, personally, or for himself and physically, Jason Jordan. So it broke today that he had minor neck.
It was a successful neck surgery. His wife posted on Instagram that it was minor. She called out all the internet smart guys that know all their stuff and said it's just a minor injury. Don't worry about it. He'll be fine. But how can you have a minor injury in
Is
a
she
contact
is she
sport?
working us?
I don't know.
How can you have a minor neck injury though?
Exactly.
The neck
Especially
has.
in wrestling.
I was gonna
of all
say
places.
the neck has some of the most important nerves and some of the most important stuff going on. Because if you mess up your neck, you can look at Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Oh, that's his dad. So I mean,
That's his
It
dad.
runs in
it
the
must be
runs in the
hereditary. I
He's
guess.
Runs in the
hereditary
family.
neck issue.
Hereditary baldness and neck issue.
Oh.
Oh.
Jason Jordan's not bald yet.
I mean, he's getting there.
he chooses to shave his head.
Sure.
It's not like Damien.
Oh.
Oh. Damien called me fat on Twitter today. So, Ethan,
Yeah.
what's your opinion on the whole Jason Jordan situation?
I mean, it really sucks that he went. I think he should have stayed in the. I've read that it was one of those neck injuries that would have made it worse. If he had done it eventually over time, it would have made it worse. So I feel like he should have, kept it out until Mania. But I mean, I just hope he gets better soon because everyone was starting to dig him, and then his character.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I was finally starting to
He's in my
dig the
top
whole.
5. I'm digging him. Yeah. He's awesome.
His heel work.
Oh,
was good.
he was in your top 5s?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about
I've been
that.
really high on him lately, and then sure enough.
Because even the story that they were doing on Raw with the injury, oh man, I can't. That was so funny though.
My dad won't let me.
My dad won't let me come out and
Just
play.
try hell.
I just try hell. And then Kurt Angle yelling at him to go to his room. Oh my gosh.
Go home.
Go home. He doesn't say that to anybody else. They don't even live together. Jason Jordan is a grown man. Go home to your wife and kids. Lauren, what you think, darling?
Okay, so the gimmick between Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan reminds me a lot of The Lion King, actually.
Nice. I'll take that.
Kurt Angle is Mufasa, Mufasa lived. And Jason Jordan is just Jason Jordan, which sucks because I really liked him when he was, with American Alpha. And I don't know, I just kind of really don't like what they've done with him. However, I do hope he gets better because I'd like for him to really come into his own and not be just Kurt Angle's kid. He's talented. I think more attention should be put on that rather than I'm Kurt Angle's kid.
I would still love to see the reveal that you're not actually my dad. I was just using that. I would still love to see
That
that.
would be
That'd be
awesome.
incredible.
That would be the perfect heel turn. You're nodding your head, buddy. You have anything to add?
No, but yes, I do.
Oh.
Oh,
it
you
could
don't?
be-
Okay, we'll move on.
Hey, shut your mouth, John.
Make
I'm
me.
talking. When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. Okay.
Alright, Miz.
Okay. Anyways, I lost my train of thought because of you, John.
What did
Anyways, this could be his neck could be really hurt, but it could be a work just so he can say, yeah, I have neck issues like my dad, and so he can have, I broke my freaking neck, but he could win something. I won it with a broken freaking neck.
Are we
I
getting
honestly
worked?
didn't
Are we
even.
getting worked?
Yeah, I was gonna say
That's
I
why,
honestly didn't even think about
low-key,
that.
I was hoping that Seth would win the match, by himself, this past Monday, and then Jason would be like, yeah, I won this with a broken neck, just like my dad did, even though I didn't even
Just like
compete.
my dad.
I didn't even step in the ring, but I won this title with a broken neck. That would have been awesome.
neck.
Bring your dad to school day.
Like my dad.
My dad won.
Bring your kid to work day for Kurt.
Yeah, but you know how they bring kids bring their dads into school for
Oh, and they
career,
show and tell.
career day. Well, my dad was an Olympic gold medalist, and he won it with a broken freaking neck, Mrs. Teacher. Hey, injuries in WWE is nothing to mess around about. as we have seen with the next guy that we're going to talk about, Daniel Bryan. So tonight, Ethan, I want you to kind of explain this just in a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
The confrontation between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon.
All right, so tonight on SmackDown, Shane he started off the show and talking about, Kevin and Sami getting their main event spot, and he said who made that was Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan came out, and basically Daniel and Shane are talking about the main event, and he goes, well, I think you just have a bias on Kevin and Sami because you can't wrestle here anymore, basically, and said, you're just living vicariously through them. And Daniel kind of seemed upset about that, and he's like, how about you give other people opportunities? And Daniel goes, I'm giving them opportunities because they got screwed at the Royal Rumble and stuff like that. So they're kind of hinting at Shane versus Daniel sometime in the future, I feel like, or just Daniel hoping to get back in the ring soon, because, you can tell they're really playing off the fact that he can't wrestle and he wants to wrestle so bad and stuff, and so.
Well, even then, even with that, we saw that with The Miz already.
Mm-hmm.
He's already, pointed that out, that, oh, you want to wrestle so badly and you can't, ha ha ha. But they really have been sowing this Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon seed for a long time. And as much as I don't want to see this, props to them for actually doing long-term booking.
It's a slow burn.
It's a slow burn, and I am a sucker for slow burns. Nick, you look so... Because we were talking about this at the basketball game, and this was one of those situations where it's like, save it for the podcast.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome to see Daniel Bryan wrestle at WrestleMania?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
I would love to see Daniel Bryan wrestle.
Against Shane McMahon? Wouldn't that be cool?
No.
Why is that across the line for you that you don't like that?
I will be the first to admit that I do like Shane McMahon. I don't know what it is about him. I've always kind of liked him.
Yeah.
And especially his match last year against AJ. To be fair, AJ could go in the ring with a stapler and put on
so could
a
Daniel.
good match.
Are you kidding me?
I know. I'm saying AJ is a full-time wrestler, okay? He has all these storylines already around him and all that stuff. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan on his first return back against Shane McMahon.
That'd be awesome as a way to come back, to go back to where he started and defeat the authority figure and then go back into wrestling.
But I also don't think Daniel Bryan will stick with WWE. I honestly don't think he's going to.
If he's wrestling, then he's staying.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Do you think he wants to wrestle Shane McMahon at
I'm sure
WrestleMania?
it's one match.
At
He's not gonna wrestle for the next 10
WrestleMania.
years.
At WrestleMania.
Yes. And then
what if he gets hurt again?
He's not going to get hurt again against Shane McMahon.
Oh, Siri was on.
Hey, Siri. Get bent.
Shane McMahon is not nearly as good of a professional wrestler as some other people who could be a lot safer with him.
So next year, then he can wrestle Kurt
What if
Angle or
he gets
AJ
hurt
Styles
again?
or whatever. He's not going to get hurt again. If there's a chance of him getting hurt again, he's not going to wrestle again in WWE.
I would rather see the triple threat that you put in the chat earlier.
Of course, that's a fantasy.
It's just
pipe
fantasy
dream,
booking.
though. There's no way they're going to add him to the world title match.
You don't know?
If it happens, I'll eat a hat. I will eat a hat. This hat right here.
Mark that.
Hey, if that happens,
If it happens, I'll cook this hat.
If that
for you.
happens, will you cancel out the pizza I still owe you guys from last year?
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll buy you a pizza if that happens.
Wait, was
And
that
eat the hat. I want to see
Any
that.
hat.
was that from 2 WrestleManias ago, or was that last
that was
WrestleMania?
That was last year.
Yeah.
Because you didn't think Triple H was going to wrestle at WrestleMania for some
Is
Is he
weird
gonna wrestle
reason.
this year? Want to bet 2 pizzas?
No,
Double or nothing?
he's probably gonna wrestle Braun Strowman this year.
Yep.
Or it'll probably be like
Ronda.
Braun and Ronda and
Ronda.
Stephanie, and because Stephanie's gonna try and get all that sweet publicity from Ronda Rousey. I just don't. Shane McMahon's old, and I don't want to see him come back.
Did you see how good his match with AJ Styles
Yeah, it
was?
was
Yeah,
It was the best
incredible.
match of the
Good.
night.
Daniel can do it too.
Daniel
It's
can
not the
carry
best
everyone.
match of the night.
If it was
darn close.
What was the best match then?
I really liked the tag team match.
which
That
one?
was because of the
the Hardy's
cheap
boy.
Yeah,
return
That was
and
like
all
5 minutes long though.
Yeah, it wasn't even that good a match.
I thought it was good.
It was fun. It was great.
It
was a fun match.
That's why I
Great,
liked
but
it.
it wasn't like
I don't
best
even
match of
remember the
night.
matches from WrestleMania.
Exactly. But you remember AJ and Shane?
Because we talked about it.
Good match. We're going in a
Good
circle.
gravy. Damian,
with
you've
that-
been quiet, bub. What?
But with that match with AJ and Shane, like part of the reason that match was so good was because he was facing AJ, who had at the time been, he's been wrestling for a long time. Daniel would just be getting back into it. So I'm with you on this, that if he's with...
I mean, I am still sticking by my point that I don't want to see Daniel versus Shane.
I just don't like Shane.
I don't think Daniel Bryan, of all people, will have ring rust.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan would never have ring rust.
And Daniel Bryan is one of those people, he can definitely have a 5-star match with a stapler, just like AJ can.
I don't know. Shane McMahon would be
He's still training, isn't he? Daniel Bryan is still, training, isn't
yes.
he?
Until he gets to come back. Yeah.
It would just be a boring match to me.
You won't know until you see it. Trust me.
To be fair, we all thought that about Shane and AJ too.
But that blew
it was
expectations out of
great.
the water.
Yes.
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 Why'd you just hold up your hand?
There was
Can
the
you
knee
talk?
slap again.
You're getting bad at that.
He held up his hand can I speak? Can I have a waffle?
A waffle does sound quite nice right now.
Let's go waffle.
I'm not that hungry. I had my lemonade.
He's
Okay.
awful.
You mean Nick's lemonade that he made?
Nick's lemonade, yeah.
Mhm.
What about Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon?
I have to agree with Nick on this
Of course you would.
because you're wrong most of the time, but it'd be a phenomenal match. I shouldn't use phenomenal because that's AJ Styles, but it would be a great match. I think that Daniel. Have you went back and watched Daniel's matches?
Yes.
Then what's your
What's your
problem?
problem? He's just as good as AJ,
If not better.
if not better.
I never once said that this would be a bad match. I'm saying
what's the problem?
I don't want this to be his return match.
It would be a safe one.
It's a return match, not a retirement match. He's going to have more matches after this one.
I'm well aware,
His
but
career is going to
the
continue.
return is going to be. This is the same situation with why would you give away Kurt Angle's in-ring return at Survivor Series was it? No, it was TLC.
It was TLC against.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, why
That
would
was
you
fun.
give that away?
Because he had to, because they had that.
I know,
injuries
and I'm
stuff.
saying
Yeah.
you could have had someone else hop in there.
But it wouldn't have been fun as more. It wouldn't be as
Wouldn't
fun.
have
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I am someone who I believe there's a lot of impact on a return, something like that, and I just think that there's so many more options out there than Shane McMahon.
I think you're nuts.
And I know that Shane McMahon is literally the beacon of light for who Vince
He's
thinks
literally
that.
Vince's kid. If Vince was gonna pick somebody to face this guy,
If Vince's kid was AJ, I wouldn't have an issue
Oh my
with
God.
this. I'm saying I never said this would be a bad match. I never once said that. I just think that there are you're telling me that that's your first choice, that you would want to see Daniel Bryan wrestle in his
It makes sense in the storyline, and it makes sense
in
going
the
forward.
storyline. In the
Yes,
storyline, I just
exactly.
don't want to see it.
It's already set to have it, so just do the match, get it out of the way, and then start your career back over and start from the bottom and work your way back up. It'll be awesome.
Actually, that's a great segue.
Oh,
Unless you wanted to continue.
no, thanks.
You said awesome.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to add this to the podcast.
Because I'm excited.
What are you excited about, bub?
The Miz's new contract that he just signed today.
Would you like to go into
according to
details
Mike
about-
Johnson? It's a 4-year
Who is
deal
Mike Johnson?
of PW Insider.
Oh.
It's a 4-year deal going through 2022. He's 37 right now, turns 38 in October. So he'll be wrestling until he's 40, if not after that when he signs a new contract.
He's 37.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I said the
Yeah,
exact
he doesn't
same.
seem like
He does
he's
not look
37.
37.
he turns 38 this year.
I said the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
That's fun.
So, I mean, it makes sense because he just had a kid. He's at the top of his game. He's doing incredible things. So why not continue for 4 more years?
And he better get another title reign. Another world title
Yeah.
reign.
Oh, I
Yes.
bet he will this year.
It's around the corner, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, was that your finisher?
That was my very first finisher.
Very first
of
finisher.
season 2,
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, he still has so many chances with the IC title and a potential a feud with Jericho over the number of reigns thing and all of that. He has a lot to still at his hands for the next 4 years.
I wonder how long
Daniel
he's gonna
Bryan, if Daniel Bryan wrestles again,
Please.
there's another match you can have. The Miz.
be. I would much rather see Daniel Bryan versus The Miz.
They're on different shows.
I know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You want to talk about slow burning, long term booking? Is Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, and what a match that would be. What
A good one.
I know. That's what I feel so defeated. I come onto this podcast once a week and literally just get berated. This is how it is in my personal
I
life.
would prefer Miz and Daniel, but that's not going to happen. It doesn't make sense.
I would prefer a lot of things.
You can't just fantasy book things into existence. You have to
You
make
gotta be
sense.
realistic. You gotta be realistic here.
Let me check my calendar.
Stuff doesn't just turn overnight and all of a
Let
sudden.
me check my
Raw, Jason
calendar.
Miz.
Mania is what? 3 months away?
Yes, and they're terrible at making things happen in 3 months. For the next 2, we're gonna see the Balor Club versus the Revival every single week on Raw, until Cena frees up to face Finn Balor.
It's because they're lazy.
Exactly. So don't expect to see
They
him jump to
can
Raw
do
and start to be with
something.
the Miz.
Nick, I will go into
You're
fisticuffs. I will go into fisticuffs.
Okay, let's go.
I will Booker T you.
This is the most heated we've seen.
Meet me in the streets.
Meet me in this. I don't even know if I want to talk about that. that it's because it is a work now. I didn't think it was at first, just because I know that
Oh, it's a
Booker.
work.
I know that Booker T is that kind of person.
Oh, did you guys hear? Did you guys happen to hear what Corey Graves said tonight after the top 10 list?
Didn't he quote from The Art of War or something?
No, he quoted what Booker T said to Corey Graves.
Oh no! What did he
Yeah,
say?
well, okay, so they just released the top 10 list. Which do you guys want me to go through that real quick?
Yeah. Wait. You make your point, and
Okay,
then
well,
we'll.
I can't remember the exact wording that he said, which sucks.
That's a great
But
point.
I know. So they were at New Day was at number 6, and Biggie as soon as the list was over, it cut to the New Day, and Biggie was like, "Oh, number 6. That's how much time it'll take for me to beat Corey Graves in the streets or something." Just reference Booker T's, and everyone was like, "Ah!"
That's a good segue.
It was a good segue.
I'm really glad. Because we are a fan of lists here. We like our own top 5
sure
current
do.
and wrestling things. SmackDown came up with something I think is cool. I think it's a cool concept.
understand
I don't
Yeah.
understand it either. But Ethan, will you go ahead and rattle off? So, what was it, last week?
Yep.
Or was it the week before?
What?
Daniel Bryan said that this was going to be a thing.
I think it was last week.
Last week.
So last week, Daniel Bryan announces that him and Shane McMahon in collaboration are going to come up with just top 10 SmackDown superstars.
Yeah, I don't understand
Did
why.
he say
but
of the week of
It's
the
just his top 10
month?
list. I don't know.
I think it's weekly.
I think it's weekly, but I'm not
That'd
sure.
be a hard list to make every week.
Maybe it's like bi-weekly.
Who knows?
I
I
don't know.
don't know. Rattle off those names for us, buddy.
Okay,
old
well,
pal.
number 10 is Ty Dillinger for some reason, since he hasn't been on the
It's
show in
definitely not
4
a kayfabe
months.
list at all.
Yeah, definitely not. Number 9 is Randy Orton, which I don't know why he was so high. Number 8 is Becky Lynch. 7 is the Usos.
Why is Becky Lynch on there too? Didn't she also lose the mixed match
And not
challenge?
put on SmackDown in like 3
Not
weeks.
put on SmackDown.
Number 7 is the Usos, which are the champions. Number 6 is the New Day, which aren't the champions. 5 is Bobby Roode. 4 is Naomi. 3
Not the
is
champion.
3 is Shinsuke Nakamura. 2 is Charlotte Flair, and 1 is AJ Styles. No Cammy. It's Cammy. I didn't even mean to say Cammy.
Hi,
no
Cammy.
Kevin Owens, no Sammy or Rusev on there. And then Byron completely said, like, after he's like, "Oh, this is basically a popularity contest, ha ha ha," and I was like, "Why would you say
Thanks a
that?"
lot. Point out
If
the
it's a
obvious.
popularity contest, then KO and Sammy and Rusev would be on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I don't
But I
understand
think
why they would even
it's
say
voted
that.
on by the superstars.
Yeah, it's voted on
so-
by the superstars, but I don't even know.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, but I don't even know
Oh.
why they would say that. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it is voted on by the superstars, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And they can't vote for themselves or whatever.
And they can't vote for themselves. I think that's the
I don't know how many
problem.
votes you get per week, or if you vote one person.
I guess nobody on that list is a heel.
The Usos. That's
Nah,
it.
They're not even heel anymore.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but
They're face. They're way too over.
they're
to be,
as heel as the club is right now.
Yeah, I was gonna
Not,
say, which is not. Thank you
Yeah.
for that clarification, because we definitely
yeah,
needed that.
they're all faces. No heels.
Popularity contest.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
I mean, a lot of those aren't surprises, like AJ and Charlotte
Yeah,
and
those should be at the
Shinsuke.
top, of
those,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
even,
Usos should be up there.
Yeah.
New Day, Bobby, but
but like you said, a
Naomi.
lot of those just don't make
Trash.
any sense. She's not trash. She just, what has she
she's
done?
very popular. That's fine.
What has she done? Same thing with Becky.
Glow.
Glow.
Do you feel it?
She
Feel the
glows
glow?
all the time. I don't understand that list either, and they didn't go into detail about it anymore.
No, he was just like Daniel Bryan just stood in the back and he said, "This is our top 10 list. 10, none other than Ty Dillinger. 9,
None other.
yeah,
With those, I bet they just had those awful graphics too, didn't they?
yeah. Oh, it all literally just had their promo pic and then said number 10 next to it, or their number. So yeah, that was pretty.
I think that was purely just to play on the perfect 10 thing.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Royal Rumble, him being 10 for the
Again.
second year in a row.
Didn't get destroyed.
I'm glad they did that though in the Rumble. That was cool.
I didn't. He was my pick, so.
But you had Sammy.
Oops. we are from the Midwest. Well, our picks, we had a good question of the week last week, Nick.
Thanks.
Our picks, I tried to segue that and it just did not work nearly as much as I thought. So we didn't have our boy on social media, Nick, to post that. So we didn't have
tweeted it.
We didn't have he did tweeted it, but he didn't
really.
he didn't put it in a poll.
Yeah.
I didn't know how you wanted to
we're gonna have
poll
trouble
that.
with
Do you
the poll
not
this
know
week
how
as
to-
well,
Why?
because of the question that I chose for this.
Oh, I mean, you can just like put us and then exclude her because there's only 4 options.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lauren.
Nobody likes
But-
me,
I'll
it's
figure
okay.
it out. I'll
Well,
figure it out.
our choices last week, that I won't go through them necessarily, but I think they were all pretty good, especially since they were on the fly. Even though Ethan thought of it that day, like
Yeah, which is weird. Did you hear that, Nick? Did you
What?
listen to the podcast?
What happened?
Before I knew the question of the week, like that earlier that day, I was randomly write down songs. I was like,
Are you
oh,
serious?
yeah.
Nice.
But Nick,
Wow.
Nick, we didn't get your answer. What is your answer to that question? What would be your entrance theme?
You're gonna laugh at me or get angry at me or something, but AC/DC, Shoot to Thrill, 100%.
That's an odd choice.
What?
That's an odd AC/DC.
I would 100% chose it because Iron Man uses it in the movies, and it's cool when Iron Man comes out to it. So
I mean, even then, like, if I had to choose an AC/DC song, I'd come out to "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap." You can't tell me that, like, "Dirty Deeds" and like you're just in the ring, like pounding on the mat and stuff. You can't "Dirty Deeds."
I don't think I'd want that kind of gimmick. We're like Vikings
We're
or
also
something.
2 completely different people.
We sure are.
I think that's a weird choice, but Nick, hit us with your question of the week, my guy.
I kept this one a little topical. We have this women's evolution going on. We have the Chamber, the Rumble. They're one of the hottest storylines right now with Ronda going on. And we like lists here. We love lists.
Love lists.
How about your top 5 women, starting with number 1 as your all-time favorite, and down the list can be all-time or current, whatever you want.
Oh, good gravy, honey.
Oh.
Wow, would put us on the
Oh.
spot.
I can start it off and kind of
Okay, yeah.
get you guys.
That's
Yeah.
weird that
Let me write this down
that's
here.
weird that we were just talking
I
about.
know.
I don't think
I know. I was trying to bite my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my all-time favorite, and it's before you say anything, it's AJ Lee. This has nothing to do with the CM Punk connection because I liked her from the beginning of NXT season 3, which I doubt any of y'all even watched. NXT
Nope.
season 3 was on. I think it was on TV. It might have been on Sci-Fi. Might have been on the website.
Sci-Fi.
I don't know. But she was Primo's rookie back then. Primo.
That's weird.
Primo Cologne. Yeah, it was very awkward, very strange. But I always liked her from the beginning of NXT, and watching her ascend through the ranks and become the manager to Daniel Bryan, the crazy chick, the GM, all that cool stuff that she did before she retired after CM Punk quit. I always liked her. I like her kind of lucha libre kind of mixture style, hybrid style. Number 2 is who I loved her in the Rumble this past 2 weeks ago, Michelle McCool. She was awesome. I was trying to explain her to Tyler, who's our friend, because he's never really seen her before. She was way ahead of her time. She's a great wrestler, but she was wrestling in the era of the Divas when Kelly Kelly was the top woman of the roster.
Are you saying Kelly Kelly's bad?
I'm saying Kelly Kelly sucks.
Oh, okay.
Michelle McCool's finisher was the Styles Clash. It was awesome. Just imagine what she could do now with Sasha Banks and Bayley and Asuka. It'd be incredible. She's a one-of-a-kind talent. 3, despite her horrendous booking that I can't stand, Sasha Banks. I think if she turns heel, I think she'll become number 1 for me currently right now. Because again, it's kind of like AJ Lee. Her style is that kind of lucha hybrid type of deal with a lot of the over-the-top selling, but also strong strikes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 might be surprising. Nikki Bella.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of hers.
She's gotten a lot
I
better.
get her promo skills are to be desired still, but I like her in ring. I like her. She has like a lot of stiff strikes. I like her kind of brawling, strong. I don't want to say strong style because you guys will laugh at me. John will laugh at me, but she has what women could call a strong style in the current era of women's wrestling besides Asuka. And then number 5 right now, I love Carmella, Miss Money in the Bank. I love her.
I do too.
I couldn't stand her in NXT. I thought she was an absolute bore and obnoxious, like an Iggy Azalea ripoff. Just horrible.
Still think.
But now, lately, with the stuff with Big E and with her stuff lately with the Money in the Bank, with her stuff with James Ellsworth, I really have, her stock has gone up with me a lot, and I'm a big fan of hers.
Can you explain this list again? You said it's...
I said put number 1 as your all-time, whether it's
Okay.
current or not. And then 2 through 5, if you want to make it
Okay.
current, you can. If you want to make it all-time, you can. Whatever you want to do. But
Okay.
number 1 should be all-time.
I think I can go.
Okay.
So, my favorite woman of all time probably won't be a surprise based on...
It's one
One
two
of
people.
my-
It's
one-
one of 2 people, I think.
Name them.
Lita or Trish Stratus? Trish Stratus.
Lita.
Lita, yep.
Lita played a very integral part in my childhood wrestling adventures, just because, like, obviously Jeff Hardy is one of my favorites ever, and she played a major role in a lot of their stuff. The stuff she did with Kane was awful, but, like, she was still good at it, and the stuff with Edge was just amazing. That's I think Lita's incredible.
I hated Lita because of that, but I also hated Edge at the time. So
my second, a lot of these are okay. So these next 2 are gonna be of all time, and then the next 2 will be not currently, but people. I don't know.
That's cool.
We'll talk about.
That's kind of how I did it.
I think my second, which might surprise you guys, is Victoria.
I like Victoria too.
I always really liked not only her in-ring work, but I think she played the psychotic character perfectly. Was it Mania 17, the hardcore match with Trish?
I think I was 19.
Not sure, to be honest.
I don't know, but that hardcore match that they did with even the fire extinguisher spot, like her like looking into the mirror and like all that so good. Which leads into my third choice, which would be Trish Stratus. I just have always loved her, and there's just no denying that she's one of, if not the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And then kind of segueing off of the psychotic character, someone who I think is doing it really great right now is Nikki Cross. She was in my top 5 currents. I think she'll be a breakout star, and she should be women's champion anytime in the near future. And this next choice is someone who I've seen her matches and I've seen what she can do, and it's just not her fault. It's Bayley.
Yes.
Just not. If they booked her, her story writes itself, and they still mess it up. Damien, you got a list?
Yeah, I bet you guys couldn't guess who number 1 is.
Nia Jax.
No.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Yeah.
Charlotte is
Wow.
number 1. I've liked her since day 1. She's my girl. Sorry, Macy.
Hi, Macy.
Charlotte, she's really good in the ring. Her promos are kind of terrible, but she's getting there.
She talks like this.
She sounds sarcastic in everything she says.
I'm the father.
I am.
Well, she was a terrible heel, like because of that. But
no,
But her
I
in-ring-
think that works
I'm
with.
the
I think that works with the heel character.
I mean,
don't
I
think
know-
it works with the face character.
yeah, but she's all right, I guess. Just kidding. But
What was that?
my second favorite, Trish Stratus. She was always good in the ring, and like you said, like probably one of the best women of all time. This is gonna
One of the best women's wrestlers. One of the best women. I'm sorry, Dave.
Favorite women in history.
This is going to be not based on her wrestling abilities, but when I was a kid, Kelly was the most
my God.
gorgeous thing on the
Kelly.
planet, or gorgeous woman on the planet.
We respect women here.
we respect women in this
We call
household. That's a
things.
rule in the dad's
Well, we're cool enough
household.
when we call them women, not fangs.
Fourth, Becky Lynch. She's a really talented wrestler. I think she's not booked right. And then my fifth, Ember Moon, because I watched the Takeover match, and her and what's her name, Baszler.
Yes.
That was a phenomenal match, and then for her to come out into the
She was great in
Rumble,
the Rumble.
and she was selling that arm like she was screaming.
She
I
was
think
good.
she'll be
She's a
on the
good
main
seller.
roster here soon, if not right
I
after
bet Mania.
Mania.
Yeah, I bet Mania.
would like that.
I bet she'll lose it to Probably Baszler. Probably Baszler.
Basil.
Basil.
Lauren?
I'm torn because since I've gotten back into watching wrestling, I kind of realize all the female wrestlers that I enjoyed when I was younger kind of aren't really that good. Like, I was a huge fan of the Beautiful People because I thought their gimmick was so weird and cool, and ODB.
ODB
ODB.
and Eric Young.
I don't know. Right now, I really like Sasha Banks. Like, she's one of my favorites. I talked about Ruby. Ruby's just different. Like, she's got a different look than everybody, and I think, she's definitely talented. Charlotte, you can't really, she's so athletic that it's crazy. And not just because I dressed up as her for Halloween, but I like Alexa Bliss. Like, when I went to she was still on SmackDown when I went. Her match was like the only one that I wasn't annoyed with because of the women, because she doesn't scream, she doesn't do like the hair pulling or anything that like is typical of women wrestling. She actually wrestled, so, and she's a good heel. I like her as a heel.
Ethan?
Can you guys guess who my number one favorite?
I'm Nia Jax.
Yep,
James Ellsworth?
No. I think I know this.
Santina.
Yeah, it's Santina Marella. No, my number one favorite is Tori Wilson?
Yeah.
No, that's not Tori Wilson.
Oh, I was like,
No.
is it?
My number one is Alexa Bliss.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
What's up, guys?
Don't ever do that again.
Yeah. She really, I didn't really like her in NXT with Murphy and Blake, yeah. See, I don't remember their names anymore.
Buddy Murphy and
Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah,
Of
the
course
other
you
one.
Blake.
And then whenever she got to the main roster, it took her a little bit, but then once she like got her footing in, became who she is now, I really liked her, and I think her matches are getting better. They're not the greatest, obviously, but
Did you see her in the mixed match challenge last?
Yeah,
week?
they were so good.
It was like the moonsault off of
yeah,
Braun.
the twisted blitz off
That was
Braun.
nuts.
Yeah, and then they like kind of flirted afterwards.
awkward.
Yeah,
You're
it was
cute.
awkward, but
I liked
you're
it.
cute. You're kind of cute too.
We're gonna go all the way.
All the way.
To the victory.
And number 2 is Victoria.
Really?
I
Nice.
actually put her down before you said it. Yeah.
Wow.
And again,
Copy her.
I know. As a kid, I really liked her, and I don't remember why. I just remember she was just pretty cool, and her moves were.
You know
were
what's
different.
funny? A funny aside to that, we were watching. I told the people I was hanging out with to turn on Family Feud. I just wanted to watch
Best
Family Feud,
show.
and it was TNA wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it was the knockouts versus the men, and Victoria was on there, and I was like, what? I was like, that's Victoria.
Yeah.
And then my number 3 is actually Tori Wilson, because as a kid, I realize now that she wasn't very good, but I thought she was smoking hot
There it
as
is.
a
Hi,
kid.
Lauren.
And
Hot
she
woman.
was
Lauren.
probably
Hot woman.
she's a hot woman. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I respect women. And then my
What's laughing?
my number 4 is Paige. Whenever I actually started getting back into wrestling is whenever Paige actually debuted and won the championship on the first night. And before all that stuff happened with her back and all
That was a
that
shame.
stuff. Yeah, it was a shame. I really hope her career is not over, and her matches with AJ Lee and everything else. Yeah. Anyways, number 5 is actually a tag team. It's the iconic duo Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. I absolutely love them together. And I think I love Peyton Royce. I think I like Peyton Royce better than Billie Kay. But other than that,
I'm definitely a bigger Peyton
Yeah.
Royce guy than Billy.
Oh, don't look at that.
why?
Nothing.
We'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, anyways,
Well, we are about ready to wrap this podcast up, and you know what that means? It is time for our finishers.
do we have to have a
Yeah, I'll start with Damien.
Yeah, Damien.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I could do my finisher.
Oh yeah, John.
Oh, yeah,
starts.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do
So this is gonna depend because I didn't even think about this. You saying Sasha Banks winning the Elimination Chamber, but I think they're gonna have Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. Whether it's for the title or not, I think it'll be the dark horse of the entire pay-per-view. I think they will come out and I think they will have an incredible match and be one of the best matches of the night.
Well, yeah, because they're best friends and they trust each other.
gonna
They have
So-
good chemistry together.
Literally.
You know
not
what?
Literally.
talk about slow burning. Talk about long stories.
It's not even a long story.
The biggest stage of them all, and they're gonna be in the spotlight because of Ronda Rousey, and they're gonna put on the match of their lives. That is a product.
Are we doing jokes or are we doing finishers?
No. That's...
Oh.
Oh wait, I got a joke.
Oh, yeah,
I got a finisher.
What's your
shit.
finisher?
The cruiserweight division. I think it is time
Oh,
for
I was
the
gonna
rebirth.
go.
The rebirth of the cruiserweights. Did you find out the news, Ethan?
No.
Oh, okay, but the rebirth of the cruiserweights.
Oh,
with the
wait! Are you gonna say something that I think you're gonna say?
No, probably not. Go,
Oh.
go ahead. Go. You already.
I don't know. Go
You already
ahead.
interrupted me. Go
No,
ahead.
I
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nope, sorry.
Somebody just go.
Nope, Damien.
Hey,
go.
hey, John, you go.
I'll turn off this podcast.
Oh,
Why
do
is
it.
this-
You
I was
won't.
just gonna say I thought you were gonna say Rey Mysterio.
Oh no,
added to
no.
the
Ray,
podcast.
Ray's gone. He's in the
Nah,
UK and
he's
he's
gone.
probably.
He did say it's a big possibility though on a podcast the other day.
On our podcast.
On our podcast.
On our I wish we got Rey
Finish this so we
Well,
can
fuck
wrap
it.
this show up.
Anyways, it's a long time until Mania, but they're gonna keep going with this tournament. But I hope that Neville will come back. I don't know
Me too, that'd be
what
awesome.
what his contract is, but I hope he comes back.
Lauren
Pass.
doesn't have one. Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, Damien, you stole my finisher because I was going to say the 205 Live tournament is going to be fantastic, I believe.
You
And
want
I
to fight?
believe-
We're
Who
cruiserweights.
do you think's going to win? Do you have any early predictions?
Neville.
Neville? Yeah. I'm thinking either Neville or Cedric.
Cedric.
Yeah. But still, I think it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be just like the Cruiserweight Classic. It's going to be amazing. Anyways. Nick?
Apollo Crews.
Hello, you stole my gimmick.
Apollo Crews. I mean, we already touched on this earlier, so I'm kind of cheating, but I have him going into the chamber, and I have him having the night of his life. Quit dropping stuff during my finisher.
Gosh.
He's,
breaking stuff during my match.
he's gonna have
Breaking my
he's
stuff.
gonna have the night of his life. He's gonna put on a great show. He's gonna get a lot of eyes on him, and I think that this will be, knock on wood, this will be the year of Apollo, guys. Apollo's gonna get a big old push this year.
Could you not do that? Your mic is. Both of our mics are on this desk.
You want to fight?
No, I
Fatty.
don't. You. Ouch.
I'm just kidding. I love you.
We can fight after this podcast. So that is gonna do it for this. You didn't want one, right?
Nah, I'm good. I don't want to.
Okay, so that is gonna do it for this week's episode of the Four Corners Podcast. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media everywhere: Facebook, Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube to keep up with all of our episodes. And from everyone here at the Four Corners Podcast, have a good night.